Hello, my name is Kisame Oshigaki, and today I'll be reading you a story called Dead by Daylight Deku. Chapter 1. The next here, number 1 is born. We see Inko Midoriya giving birth to two children. First, a blonde-haired girl named Izumi Midoriya and a green-haired boy, Izuku Midoriya. Next to Inko, we see the children's father, but we all know him as All Might. All Might said, "Good job, Inko. You did very good. Now we have two very beautiful children." Inko looked at All Might. She saw his smile and she knew everything was okay. Now we skip. Now we will time skip 2 years. It is the day of all the kids' second birthday, and Inko and All Might noticed both of their children was very different. Izumi was very going happy and wanted to go do everything, where Izuku wanted to stay home, sit in silence. They also noticed that Izuku liked horror movies. Ingo walked up to Izuku and said, "Hey sweetie, what would you like for your birthday?" Izuku responded, maybe more movies." And Ingo walked up to All Might and said, he wants more movies. Then All Might responded, saying, "How about we get him the new movie series called Dead by Daylight? He seems not get scared by horror movies, so why not?" Note to reader, all the DLC killers are in this, so pretend that Michael, Freddy, the Pig, etc. are owned by the owners of Dead by Daylight. So Inko and All Might went to the store to get the kids presents while Mitsuki watches them with Bakugo. We will do a little flashback when Bakugo got there. Inko opened the door to greet her best friend, and then they walked in and Mitsuki noticed and asked, "Where's Izuku?" Then Inko responded, "Oh, he's probably watching a horror movie in his room. For some reason he really loves them. So myself and Toshi are going to get him the Dead by Daylight series." So Mitsuki looked at Inko shocked and said, "Are you sure? They're very graphic." Inko says, "Yes, he's watched so many horror movies he wouldn't be affected if somebody got killed right in front of him. And that's what scares me." Then Mitsuki just nodded. And now we time skip 2 more years. Deku has watched Dead by Daylight movies over 100 times, and the next day will be 101st time watching the movies. And and they're also going to go see their clerks. They're good. Now we're going to skip to the next day. Izuku was about to hit play to start watching the Trapper movie. Then Ingo yelled downstairs, "Izuku, come on, we're going to go to the quirk doctor." Then Deku ran downstairs and slipped on his shoes and ran to the car. Izuku was excited to get his quirk. He wanted to be like Eraserhead. Now we skip to when they get to the doctors. The doctor yells to Midoriyas. Then Izuku jumped and walked over to the doctor along with Inko and Izumi. The doctors checked Izumi's and Izuku's quirk. The doctor said, "So, man, do you want the good or bad news?" Inko said the good news. The doctor responded with, "Well, Izumi has two quirks. She has a stockpile quirk and a very strong telekinesis quirk. But then we have Izuku here. I'm sorry, but he's quirkless." Then, then Izumi and Inko let out a pfft. He is a quirkless loser? And Izuku sat there happy because he knew he had a quirk. But the doctor decided to lie to Inko, because if his quirk got into the wrong hands, it could kill that person, or the person could rule the world. Flashback to the doctor told Izumi to go back to her mom, so it's just the doctor and Izuku in the room. And the doctor says, "Izuku, I have great news. You have the power to surpass All Might." But Izuku didn't care. He loves to raise her head. The doctor says, "Have you heard of the movies Dead by Daylight?" Then Izuku's face grew wide and said, "Do I? Are you kidding me? It's my favorite movie. My favorite killer's the Oni. And the doctor says, well, your quirk is called Dead by Daylight. You have all the killer's abilities. But for now, for your safety, I'm going to tell your mom that you're a quirkless. I want you to reveal your quirk only to one person that you trust your life with, okay? Izuku nodded. Now the flashback back to present. Inko was pissed. They got home, and she went straight to All Might and says, the horror freak's quirkless. Then All Might said, heh, let's get rid of him. Deku heard this, went to his room, packed his clothes and all his horror movies, and climbed up the window. No, to reader. His room is on the first floor. Deku ran to the forest. Then he started hearing humming sounds that sounded very familiar, becoming behind him. He turned around and saw the Huntress, and to his shock, the Huntress hugged him. Then Deku got a feeling to slam his hand on the ground, so he did, and the other 23 killers showed up. The Huntress looked at him and nodded, telling them we're going to help him. Anyways, so they walked 4 hours, and Billy and Leatherface started up their chainsaws to cut down wood so they can make a building for all of them to stay in. While the stealth killers go to go hunting, the nurse decided to look at Izuku, make sure he didn't have cuts or any injuries. Now we go back to the Midoriya house. All Might went to Izuku's room, and when he opened the door, he seen all the movies and clothes gone. Then All Might's heart dropped. He saw a lot of blood by the window and the window in shards everywhere. He ran to Inko and said, Izuku's gone. There's a lot of blood. The window's in pieces. Then Izumi and Inko's heart skipped a beat. All Might called Hawks, Endeavor, Eraserhead, Midnight, and Nezu. They got to the house as fast as possible. They burst through the door, and Nezu said, let me see this room. Then All Might showed Nezu and Eraserhead his room. They asked All Might to leave while they searched. Then Nezu looked under his bed, and he saw a note, and the note read, Dear Nezu, I know you're the one who found this note. I wanted to tell you that the blood is fake. The reason why I left, I heard Mom and Dad saying we're going to get rid of me because I was quirkless, but to let you and Eraserhead know, I am not quirkless, but I am willing to meet you in the tallest building in the city. Meet me there in 10 years from now. P.S. Do not tell anybody I left on purpose. Actually, you can tell Uncle Enji, but tell him the reason. No, Endeavor is actually good on this story. Nezu was pissed, and Eraserhead asked, why are you so mad, Nezu? Then Nezu handed him the note, and he erased it. And Ozawa read it, and he wanted to kill All Might and Inko. Then they walked out of the room, and everybody looked at him and said, did you find anything? And Nezu said, no, it looks like a kidnapping. All Might, Inko, and Izumi started crying. Then Nezu, Endeavor, and Eraserhead walked out, and Nezu looked at Endeavor, handed him the note, and read it. And he read it. And he says, at least we can contact him via letter. And Nezu was like, wait, what? How? Then Endeavor showed him the chance to summon the Demogorgon, so he could transport the letters. Then Nezu said, let's go to my office and try it. Then they left to go to the Nezu office. And then once they got there, Nezu wrote the note, and Nezu said, entity, I summoned the Demogorgon to feed on the souls of the lost. Then the portal opened up on the floor, and the Demogorgon crawled out. And Nezu looked at Nezu and nodded and held his hand out. Then Nezu placed the letter into the hand, and it crawled into the portal. Sorry. Then he crawled into the portal, and it closed up. Then the Demo got back to Izuku, gave him the letter, and he read, Dear Izuku, this is Nezu. I wanted to tell you I wanted to kill your parents, so I decided to get some revenge. I wanted to tell you your parents are the number 1 in 7 hero. Okay, now we do a flashback as all this is happening in the Midoriya household. It took 6 hours to build a little house for all 25 of them, plus extra rooms just in case, like for nurse and doctor, for medical bays and stuff. While while Billy and Leatherface was cutting down trees, Oni has set up dummies to help Izuku with swordplay. The nurse and doctor set up a medical room. Um, Deathslinger set up a armory room just in case. And not Michael, my bad. Pyramid Head set up traps for animals, if anything, or humans that came in the area, they would get snared and they would know immediately. And that is the end of chapter 1. Have a good day.